Yeah, take your top off. Ah! Oh god, that was embarrassing. Yep, it's that time of the month again. It's time for the official series for Morons. And oh boy, what a story we got today. We have a story called A Very Minty Christmas Bootleg, and oh boy, we're in for a treat. Well, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna actually read this. And yes, another My Little Pony troll pasta. Well, without further ado, let's take a read at A Very Minty Christmas Bootleg. I love My Little Pony. Not the infamous G3, but G4. Most bronies, people who MLP often refer to the male fans, but can be used in reference to the female fans as well, prefer G4, and have a tendency to poke fun at the past generations. I myself am guilty of doing such a thing. Once I rented a DVD of G3 My Little Pony, just for the sake of seeing how stupid it was and being able to make fun of it. I couldn't help myself at a garage sale and had to buy a G3 DVD that only cost 5 cents. To be honest, the price surprised me. For such a cheap DVD, it seemed to be an amazing quality, but it did look like it had been burned from a computer. It was a blank disc with the words My Little Pony Bootleg Recording written in a black marker. The back was clean and free of scratches. I asked the lady running the garage sale if I could buy the disc. She stared at me, grabbed the disc out of my hands, and stared at it for a long time. Her eyes practically bugged out of her head. I bit my lip. Uh, ma'am? The lady looked at me with a crazy mixture of fear, anger, and confusion. Where did you find this? Supposed to. Ugh. I found it in the DVD bin. I'm sorry, ma'am. I didn't know that. Um, Never mind. Take it away. Take it away. But for the love of all things holy, little girl, do not watch that video. Wait, I'm supposed to. I was supposed to be a girl this whole time. Don't you want the money? Take it. The anger and horror in her voice scared me so badly, I clutched the DVD in my hand and ran away back to my house. So, so a random stranger gave you a DVD or other piece of media before for free. That sure doesn't sound familiar at all. Screw off, Ben. I slammed the door behind me and remembered my parents wouldn't be home for at least 2 days. They had taken a romantic, yuck, vacation and trusted me to stay home by myself. Alone, I put the DVD into the DVD player and sat on the couch. I realized I had forgotten to turn the TV on, so I did that. At first, the DVD player made a few weird whirring noises, but then it just played the disc normally. It seemed to be a bootleg of A Very Minty Christmas. I grabbed the DVD player remote and pressed play, my eyes glued to the TV. As soon as I had pressed play, Minty and her hot air balloon crashed into the screen with a loud scream. I jumped and clapped my hands over my ears, then slowly lowered my hands back down to the couch. There was a lot of static, then the theme song began to play. With every word, the voice became deeper and more distorted. By the end of the song, it was just a hideous, demonic voice mumbling something unintelligible. The video that played along with it wasn't color, just black and white. A picture flashed by the screen, and I could have sworn it was Minty with her eyes bleeding and screaming in agony. At least the blood wasn't hyper realistic, right? As the episode really began, really, because the opening takes like 5 or 10 minutes to start. As the episode really began, I couldn't tell that it wasn't. I could tell this wasn't normal. It was scratchy and had a ton of static. I clapped my hands over my ears again just in time before Minty's earlier screen went through again. Finally, a couple of ponies appeared on the screen. Everything was silent. They were at a graveyard? That wasn't normal at all. Death was rarely mentioned in My Little Pony. But these two ponies, Sky Wishes and Pinkie Pie, were staring at the grave. Okay, I know who Pinkie Pie is, but who's Sky Wishes? It was drawn so you couldn't see the writing. Then it turned to a view so you could. I almost screamed. The words Misty's coming were written in hyper-realistic. I'm not gonna throw it. Let's just continue. Was written in hyper-realistic blood on the tombstone. A pony's head lay just in front of the headstone so that you couldn't see it from behind. I didn't recognize the head. It was splattered in blood, with its eyes gouged out, made a tangled mess, and little candies carved into the cheeks. The candies looked just like part of Minty's cutie mark. The ponies shook their head. Pinkie Pie suddenly burst into tears. Don't hurt anyone else, please. We weren't trying to chase you out. Sky Wishes grabbed Pinkie, cupped her hoof over Pinkie's mouth. Don't talk. I think she's close. The screen suddenly went black. A huge, ear-splitting, tormenting scream came from the TV. Too realistic. It sounded like the scream was happening right in front of me. Probably because it was coming from the TV. When the video resumed, it was Rainbow Dash, a close-up of her face. It seemed frozen in surprise, then it zoomed out. Rainbow had been sliced open, her small intestine torn out, and used as a noose to hang Rainbow from the top of the big Christmas tree. I almost puked. It had been drawn in that hyper-realistic style again. Can someone explain to me what that means?
Definition of hyperrealism: realism in art characterized by depiction of real life in an unusual or striking manner.
I saw a flash of a pony in the background. Minty? And heard another scream. Not as bad as the one before, but it still hurt. My head began to ache and my eyes felt like erasing everything I've ever seen. I wanted to vomit. You already did, though. I really wanted to stop watching, but it felt like I was stuck to the couch, that I couldn't move. The screen went to black again. The next scene it showed make me puke all over the floor and cry my eyes out. The next scene it showed make me puke all over the floor and cry my eyes out. You already puked before. How much puke do you need? Do you need to do? Minty stood in the midst of the big castle thingy surrounded by various ponies. You mean Canterlot? Jeez, man, get with it. The ponies all had their eyes gouged out, their stomachs sliced open, their forelegs cut off and stuffed into their mouths, and a candy, again similar to Minty's cutie mark, carved into their flanks. Minty was covered in blood and smiled a wicked, demonic smile. How do you make a smile demonic? I mean, the only person that I would see that would be considered a demonic smile would be maybe Satan or, I don't know, Jeff the Killer. Her eyes were bleeding. When she spoke, it sounded like a demon talking through a radio. How do you know what a demon sounds like? Maybe it just sounded like a like a G major voice, like a normal voice being spoken through G major. Christmas was going to be perfect. I just wanted it to be perfect. She threw back her head and laughed an ear-splitting laugh, and shrill and terrifying. Now it'll be perfect. I screamed and tried to take out the DVD, but couldn't. All I could do was stare at the screen in horror as Minty began to decay in front of my eyes until she was a mass of bloody flesh, with bones poking out here and there. The ponies around her had decayed into rotting masses of flesh. Everything was covered in blood. The screen had faded to red. There was another scream, and then silence. I screamed and finally got the disc out. It was burning hot. I let it drop to the ground. After a few seconds, it cooled off. I grabbed it and threw it into the back of my closet after running to my room. You didn't think to throw it in the trash. Great. I walked back to the living room, shocked and feeling sick. I sat down on the couch and looked around. Puke was on the floor, and it was a bit damp from where my tears had flowed. Everything seemed darker. There was a ringing in my ears. I wanted to break down crying again, but I also felt nothing. I just felt like this was all a horrible, horrible dream. But the feeling soon passed. When I had dropped the disc, a burn in the shape of Minty's cutie mark remained. And thus the story ends abruptly. This girl did not think at all to throw it away or smash it to pieces. Instead, she just threw it in the closet. Great. You and your family are going to be haunted forever. Whoo! Finally, I'm done with this stupid creepypasta. Did you guys enjoy this video? And did you like to suffer with me? If you did, leave in the comments what you thought the best part or the worst part of the video was. If you liked it, hit the like button. But if you loved it, hit subscribe and don't forget to hit the notification bell to get to the next episode. I'll be seeing all of you in the next video. Peace! Damn you, Minty. I can't believe it. Minty had to ruin Christmas a third time.